إذا شباب في الشابتر 1 درسنا موضوع مهم اللي هو the following. نرجع له، اللي هذا قانون 68% اللي هو كم هذا؟ كيف نجد المساحة هذه؟ طبعا here we have a normal distribution، بس this is mu، هذا المين، هذا mu plus sigma، mu minus sigma. في مثال من الأمثلة يديني normal distribution وال 110. This is the normal distribution. ما ذكر related على AQ أو حاجة زي كده. We have 110. Once we have 110 كيف نجد أو 110 exactly. إذا في الحالة هذه كم 68% تمثل إيه شباب؟ in term of area. 0.86 هي الاريا between 90 x is between 90 and 110. This is in term of probability equal 0.68. Why? Because here we are between x between 90 and 110. Then this probability is equal 0.68. Why? لأنه we have a normal distribution when mu equal 100 and sigma equals 10. بس شباب فيه الأسئلة تختلف من طالب إلى طالب، بمعنى أحيانا يسألك between 80 and 120. Between 80 and 120 what is the probability؟ بين 80 و 120 كيف نجدها؟
95.
The area related to x to mu plus 2 sigma and the mu minus 2 sigma. Once we have mu plus 2 sigma and mu minus 2 sigma, what about this black area؟ كم تمثل هذه؟ هذه تمثل 95%. واضح؟ That means the area once we put instead of 90, 80, the probability of x between 120 and 80 is equal 0.95. This is another way. في form ثالثة اللي هي between 130 and 70, between 130 و 70. In this case it's equal 0.997. Then be careful حسب السؤال. في كثير من الشباب معناتها لأنه الأسئلة تختلف من طالب إلى آخر. That's why كثير من الطلاب يقول لك أنا سويت وشيكت مع أصدقائي بس ما هو نفس السؤال، بمعنى الإجابة يمكن تكون مختلفة من سؤال من طالب إلى آخر. هذا ما درسناه، ما قلنا قانون 68 95 99.9.7.
كلا.
By the way إذا أي طالب للمعلومة، إذا أي طالب يبغى يشيك على أخطائه أو يعرف اختباره إيه الموضوع يمكن يجي في ساعة مكتبية. مرحبا بالجميع. Okay. Then here just here we have z equal once we have a normal distribution. This is mu. I'll move back to slide 30 quickly. When we have mu equal 64.5 and sigma equal 2.5, we have the same rule, 68%, 95, 99.7 as I said. Here we have between mu, this is mu plus sigma, this is mu minus sigma, mu plus 2 sigma, mu minus 2 sigma, mu plus 3 sigma, and mu minus 3 sigma. Okay, that means here this is related to the particular case when mu equals 0, this is mu equals 0 in this case, and sigma equals 1. As you know, this case is called the standard normal distribution. Then in general, thanks to this scaling, this transformation, z equal x minus mu divided by sigma, we can move from the normal distribution to the standard normal distribution, which is useful because related to the standard normal distribution, we have the table and we can evaluate the result requested. Here, then he asked about the probability x between 68 and 70. When x equals 68, z equals 1.4, as you see here. And when x equals 70, z equals 2.2. Then thanks to the table, then in some sense we need the probability. This probability is equal the probability of z between 2.2 and 1.4. If not, it was better to. Then this probability is equal exactly the probability of z between 2.2 and 1.4. Here, this probability can be evaluated thanks to the table. Why? Because once z equal 2.2, this is slide 32. Okay. Once z equal 2.2, the probability of z equal 2.2 is equal 0.9861. This is thanks to the table, and the probability when z equal probability of z less than 1.4 is equal 0.9192. Once we take the difference, because here we need just the probability between A and B, then it's the probability of z less than A minus the probability of z less than B. When we take the difference, which is given by this expression, obviously we can write it in terms of percentage without any problem. Now, زي ما قلت لكم اللي يبغى يشيك على أخطائه أو يفهم أخطائه لأنه الميد تيرم، عندكم فكرة على تاريخ الميد تيرم؟ Maybe it will be in week 7 صح؟ 29 فبراير.
اي ويك 7 صح.
يوم الأحد رسمي. جاكم رسمي ولا لسه not yet؟
الرسمي.
اوكي إذا لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. Then now we'll move to another section when we called about mean and variance related to any random variable. Then we will start maybe in the particular case when we have a discrete variable. That means when we have x1, when we have x1, when we have a discrete number of observation, then x take the value of the variable x, the random variable x take the value x1, x2, x3 until we have a discrete number. بمعنى لما يكون discrete بمعنى we can see them or we can talk about them. لأنه لما يكون عندي natural number مثلا، لما يكون عندي natural number يمكن نتحدث عليهم. معناتها 0 then 1 then 2 then 3 then 4 then 5. It's true the number is not finite, but we can start to talk about them. بمعنى 0 1 2 natural number 0 is outside, بس 1 2 3 4 and so on. بمعنى دائما يمكن نتحدث عليهم. بس once we have here 1 2 3 4, this is the discrete case. But once we have the interval 0 1, كيف نبدأ وكيف ننتهي شباب؟ أعطيني كل الأعداد between 0 and 1. You can start. The answer is no. ليه؟ لأنه إذا تمر 0.1 for example تركت قبلك 0.01. إذا تبدأ ب 0.01 تركت قبله 0.0001 and so on. بمعنى ما يمكن تتحدث على بعض الأعداد بس ما يمكن ما فيه ترتيب ما فيها. It's impossible to talk about all values. Then here we have an interval. We have a lot of number. Even here we have a lot, but it's discrete because we can start in some sense. بمعنى يمكن نبدأ natural number تقول 1 2 3 4 تخلصت من جزء معين من العدد. بس a real number ما يمكن تبدأ ما تعرف كيف تبدأ. We have a lot of numbers, but it's a continuous. That means we have all number in this interval. Okay. By the way, it's not very important for this course, but here, once we have a discrete variable, then the mean is given by this formula. That means the first value x1 times p1. P1 is the probability when x equal p1, or more general, even pi. As explained here, pi is equal the probability when x equal xi. Then once we have this, we have all possible values related to x, all output of the variable x, then and the probability related. Then mu x is equal e of x, which is equal the first value of the variable times p1 times the probability related, the probability حقها, plus the second one times the probability related, plus the third, and so on until infinity here, or if the number is finite, no problem, it's a finite sum. But here to see we have a sum xi, pi. When I move, I don't know where I move, but in sometimes it moves in a finite number, and the number is finite. In sometimes the number is not finite, but by the way, we can evaluate this this probability, this mean, okay, this expression, which is the mean of the variable x. This is an example, which is maybe very easy. This is the variable x. We did this, we used this example before. When we toss a coin in 3 times, fair to see the probability for each, the probability half to have a head and the half to have a tail. Then fair بمعنى كيف نقول fair بالعربي عادل حاجة زي كده. fair coin بمعنى معناتها ما فيها جهة أفضل من جهة. We have the same chance related to head or tail. This is the meaning of fair. بالعربي كان يبيع عادل أو حاجة زي كده. To be fair حتى تكون عادل. Anyway, here we have, as we said before, we have 4 possibilities. X can take the value 0, X can take the value 1, 2, and 3. Why? Because when we toss a coin in 3 times, it's possible to have H in 3 times, T in 3 times, H to C head, H that means head, and the T that means tail. Then it's possible to have X equal 1, that means just in 1 times we have head, or in 2 times we have head, then we have 3 possibilities. It's impossible to have obviously 4 heads because we toss your coin in 3 times. Then this is the distribution. إذا طبعا الطريقة بسيطة مرة، نضرب 0 في 1.8، 1 في 3.8، 2 في 3.8، 3 في 1.8، وبعدين نجمع. Here we are going to sum 4 values لأنه here we have x1, x2, x3, and x4. Then we have the sum of 4 expression. After computation it becomes 1.5. طبعا this is natural لأنه in term of average بمعنى كم من head يجيك لما ترمي coin 3 مرات. طبعا في الافريج المين represent the average. In term of average it's like 1.5 بمعنى مرة ونصف. طبعا ما في مرة ونصف، بس بمعنى لما ترمي لما تسوي الاكشن هذه 1000 مرة حتجيك 700، حتجيك نصفها، حتجيك 1500 لأنه an experience here that means we toss your coin in 3 times. Then when we do this action in 1,000 times, we have 1,500 heads and 1,500 500 tails in average. In average بمعنى في المعدل. ما نتحدث يمكن أنت لما تسوي تجربتك instead of 1500 you can obtain 1510 as head and 1490 as tail, or the inverse. It's possible, but in average it's like 1500. Okay, بمعنى في المعدل. That's why this value is natural. That means we have 1.5. And also why? Because we have a fair cone. That means طبعا we have a symmetry between head and the tail. That means we have 1.5 head and or heads and 1.5 tails. اوكي بمعنى لما ترمي الكوين 3 مرات هتجد مرة ونص معناتها heads ومرة ونص tails. Okay, which is very natural because we have a symmetry. Here we have another case when the probability distribution of X is shown below. This is the probability of the distribution X. Then this is the possible values, X equals 0, 1 until 10. And this is the probability related على الزيرو. هي هنا الكولن الأول شباب هذا means P of X equals 0 is equal 0.001. This is and so on. طبعا this is the meaning of this is P of X equals 1 is equal 0.006 and so on. You understand the meaning of this table? Then first of all, he asked to show that this probability is legitimate. Legitimate, that means it's a probability. Then as we see here, all values are between 0 and 1, then all probabilities are between 0 and 1. And once we add all these, once we take the addition between all terms, we obtain 1. We can verify, okay, no need to do it in the class, but we can verify it easily. The sum is obviously equals 1. Is it clear? After that, we can draw the histogram without any problem. We have, this is the first variable and this is the second one. Then we draw in X, in the X-axis, the variable. Here we move between 0 and 10. And we try to draw the histogram related, which was done in the introduction. Then the last question is what about what is P of X is more than 7? This is the probability of X more than 7. What about this probability? What should I do in order to evaluate this? P of X, I have to add these values. Why? Because I can see the following. P of X more than 7, more or equal 7 is equal P of X equals 7 plus P of X equals 8 plus P of X equals 9 plus P of X equals 10. Then we have to add these values. Obviously, we have all the requested thanks to the table. And this is P of X equals 7, P of X equals 8, equals 9, equals 10. We add them and we obtain 0.908. That means it's something like 91%. The next step is to evaluate the mean. In order to evaluate the mean, what should I do? It's very easy. I have to multiply by colon this product, the first times the second, 5 في 0.02 7 في 0.0099 8 times 0.319 9 times 0.437 10 times 0.053. Then here we have 10 expression or 11 because we start in 0 and the end is in 10. Then we have 11 terms. Once we add them, we obtain the requested value, which is called the mean of the variable x. Okay, mu x or e of x is equal 8.81 to 128 related to this variable. طبعا we have to do some computation in order to obtain the request. That means in average, in average it's like 8.128. تلاحظوا even here we have the observation are between 0 and 10 بس المعدل حقهم كم؟ يجي عدد بين 0 و 10 بس هنا يجي 8y لأنه أهم هذا it's like nothing بمعنى الأعداد الأولى غير مهمة لأنها أعداد صغيرة مرة. It's not very important because we use the ponderation بمعنى أهمية الموضوع. أوكي زي ما تقول تسوي هنا 5 اختبارات كل اختبار من نصف درجة بس أهم الاختبارات هي this value. That's why the average is here. It's something like that. By the way, it's a computation. Okay, لأنه الأعداد هذه الأولى لما تحسب احنا ما سوينا computation بس لما تحسب الترمز الأوائل من 1 إلى 6 البرودكت is not important بمعنى الأعداد هذه كلها ما هي الحد 6 not very important بمعنى in term of computation it's small enough. الترم المهم هو اللي يجي من الأربع أعداد هذول. Okay. As you see the probability is 0.91 بمعنى 90% هي أكبر من 7 بمعنى الباقي زي ما هو غير موجود تقريبا. Okay. لأنه 90% بين 7 و 10 as it was explained in the question before. By the way, no need to do this. It's just by computation, but just to understand the meaning of this. This is all about the discrete case. Once we have a continuous case, it becomes a density and it becomes integral mu x is equal e of x. Then instead of it was some xi pi, okay? Then what I have to do, this is once we have a discrete case, then in the continuous case, the sum becomes integral, xi becomes x, and pi becomes f of x. Then we have this integral, we have analogy between the discrete case and the continuous case. Then the sum becomes integral, xi becomes x, and pi becomes f of x, which is the density of probability. Then this is طبعا we have to start in negative empty until infinity, and this is one case. This is one case. We have x squared divided by 9, x between 0 and 3, and 0 other ways. Then other ways it's a 0. That's why this integral is equal. We have to exclude the outside of 0, 3y because f of x is equal 0. Then it's an integral between 0 and 3, x, f of x, this is f of x, dx. طبعا we have to do some computation here. It's what we studied in calculus. Just we have to use the following formula. That means the formula is the following. Integral x alpha is equal what? Is equal 1 over alpha plus 1 x alpha plus 1. Obviously, once alpha is not equal negative 1. Then this is the formula requested plus constant, but here we can remove the constant because I need one antiderivative. I can use what I want, and thanks to this, we have we can evaluate this integral. Okay, then we take the value in 3 minus the value in 0. The value in 0 is equal 0. Then just we have to take the value in 3, which is equal 2.25. Then related to this, we have some important rules. The first one is once we have y equal, for example, 2 plus, I move. This is a question. Once we know we have x, such that mu x equal 3. Clear? Then the mean of my variable is equal 3. The question, I have another variable which is y, which is equal to x plus 4, for example. The question, what is mu y? What is the mean of the variable y? Okay. Is it possible to evaluate this? The answer is yes anyway. The answer is it's equal to mu x plus 4. Then once we have a constant, we have to add it in terms of mean. And once we have to multiply by a real number, we have to put it outside. Then this is the meaning of the first rule. Then when we have obviously here mu x equal 3, then it becomes 10 in this case. Why? It becomes 10 in this case. Why? Because mu x equal 3 and 2 times 3 plus 4 equal 10. Then more general, this is the formula. The formula said the following: mu, once we have a first constant plus another constant times x, it's equal the first constant. In my particular case, it was 4, plus the constant before x times mu x. Then once we have an idea about mu x, we can evaluate mu y when y is equal a plus bx. It's the mean of the addition is equal the addition of the mean, and the mean of the subtraction is equal the subtraction, the difference between the mean. Mu x minus y is equal mu x minus mu y. This is all about the mean. Taban, obviously, this is true once we have a continuous or discrete case. For each case, these properties are true. We can use them. Now we'll move to the variance of random variables. Once we have random variables, we can define the variance of x, which is the standard deviation squared, sigma x squared, which is given by this formula in the discrete case. It's equal the first observation minus mu x squared times p1 plus x2 minus mu x squared times p2, and so on. Then we have to add them. طبعا mu x was evaluated before. Mu x هي المين، والمين درسناه في slides before. Then the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. Here, as we see clear, the variance is something positive because it's the addition between some positive expression. That's why it's positive. This is one particular case. طبعا mu x, we said before, it's equal 3 over 2. Then sigma x squared is equal the first observation, that means 0 minus 3 over 2 squared times this probability, plus x2, which is 1 minus mu x, which is 3 over 2 squared times 3 over 8, and so on. We have to add all possibilities in order to obtain 0.75. Taban, this is sigma x squared. We can evaluate sigma x, which is its square root. This is another case. طبعا ممكن as homework we can do the computation here. يمكن تسوي الحسابات by using calculator. طبعا we can do this computation. This is related to the discrete case. Once it's continuous case, then it becomes an integral. نفس الطريقة. As I said, it was sum. It becomes integral xi minus mu x pi. It was this sum. It becomes x minus mu x. Mu x represents the mean of the variable x. Instead of pi we have f of x طبعا dx. Here I'm sorry I forgot square it. Here we have square it. Then this is the meaning of the variance as we see here. طبعا here we have square it. Be careful for the first case, for the discrete case, or for the continuous case. طبعا that's why the variance is positive. Okay, this is the meaning of the variance. Then we have a rule when we can use it. Theorem, he said the following: we can evaluate e of x squared minus e of x both squared. Then what is the meaning of e of x squared? E of x squared is equal, be careful, is equal integral x f of x squared, I'm sorry, dx. Then الباور هذا I'm sorry, this power will be there. And however, e of x squared is equal a real number squared. That means it's equal integral f of x. This is e of x. After computation of the integral is equal squared. Here between negative empty and empty. Here also between negative empty and empty. Then the variance is equal e of x squared minus e of x squared. بمعنى الأسود minus expression اللي بالأحمر. This is we can evaluate the variance in this case like that. طبعا in this case we have to evaluate e of x squared. طبعا we have f of x. It becomes a calculation of this integral which is 5.4. E of x squared, if e of x was evaluated before, it's 2.25. ليه هذا أفضل؟ لأنه هنا بس في المطلق e of x was evaluated before. Here we have just to evaluate this integral. That's why sometimes it's better to use the second formula in order to evaluate v of x. Then we have e of x squared minus e of x parenthesis squared.
دكتور
تفضل.
زاد فضلك شلون الاكس صار اس 5 تحت؟
لأنه هنا اكس اس 4 هو اكس اس كم؟
هو اكس اس 4
بس الانتي ديريفاتيف اكس اس 4 على 9. الانتي ديريفاتيف حقه كم تصبح؟ نزود واحد في الباور ونقسم على الباور الجديد. بمعنى between 0 and 3 is equal what? Is equal أبغى anti derivative of x to the 4. إيه الانتي ديريفاتيف حق x to the 4 صديقي؟ It's x to the 5 divided by 5. بس عندي already times 9 then 5 times 9. نذكرك عنده. Is it clear؟ نذكرك x to the alpha اللي كتبتها الحين منذ 5 دقائق is equal 1 over alpha plus 1 x alpha plus 1. طبقنا هذا لما alpha تساوي 4. طبعا once again this is true once alpha is not equal minus 1. But here alpha equals 4. طبعا إذا نعوض الألفا ب4 هنا once we put instead of alpha 4 it becomes 5 هنا x أس 5 1 على 5 x أس 5. You understand؟
ليه واضح يا دكتور. يعطيك العافية.